Yeah, YouTubers, Tazman here, bringing you another episode of Taz Teaches Java. And in our last episode, we kind of did this encrypting, so to speak, thing where we actually are simply just taking each character that's a valid A through Z type character and converting it into a star and leaving all our numbers and symbols as is. So when we run it, we get results like this that show stars for where the letters are and numbers for where numbers are and symbols where symbols are. So that's all working pretty good. But if we look at our output here, ignoring this guy, but if we look at our output, we want to have an alphabet bar. We want to make it so that when they start the game, there's an alphabet bar at the top, and then as they make their guesses, it will fill in the alphabet over whichever one is here, but it will also remove or change it to an underscore or something on the alphabet bar so they know that they've used that character or letter. And let's see, then maybe if we have time, maybe we'll also have another bar underneath that shows the wrong letters. I don't know. I imagine we don't necessarily need that because right letters will be here, and in the alphabet bar, the letters that they guessed will now be missing. So we'll address that as we get there. So let's really quick, let's set this back to 0 because this is the default state of the game. You don't want to start with your guy hung, right? So now we just have the hangman's noose. So let's go ahead and work on that. So right now, when our constructor fires off, it's going to hide our word. It's going to create the hidden word. So what we want to do is then, now this, instead of having this be in the constructor, we could have a call to this in the constructor, but we're going to create one called reset the alpha. So the alpha bar, right? So let's do PBLI public, and this isn't going to return anything. And let's just call it RESC. Wait, let me just think real quick. No, it's not going to return anything. Reset alpha. And the reason we're going to do reset alpha to actually set it is because in the game, if they want to play again, we're going to call reset alpha, which will empty out the bar and let it start over. So it'll recreate the bar. So that seems like a pretty decent thing to call up here. So let's go ahead and add another character return there. And let's see. So for reset alpha, all it's going to do is call a private one called set alpha, which we haven't created yet. And like I said, I'm not 100% sure this is the best way to do it, but I don't want the components of set alpha to be available to the outside. So this will simply call a private function within. So we want to do set alpha. So PRI private void. We're not going to return anything because it can all be just here. Set ALPHA. And what set alpha is going to do is it's going to set all the letters of the alphabet. Now, because everything, PRIVATE, because everything in the computer is simply a 1 or a 0, and there's, 97 is the value for, I think that's capital A. And then 26 numbers later is the number for, so we can actually use numbers to set this. But we can even do one step further. We can actually have a for loop that can do characters. Because in its essence, all a character is it displays maybe an A or whatever, but behind the scenes, it's just the number. So the uppercase A is the 97 and so on and so forth. So what we can do is let's set up, trying to think if we want, let's do an int, and we'll just call it E for entity, or the element that we're going to be doing in an array, and we'll start it out at 0. And then here's our 4, so we're going to do 4, and what we can do is we can do a char, so this is going to be char and it's going to be I, okay? And we're going to set it to be equal to A. And we need to use the single ticks and A, because that denotes it's a character. Then we want to stick in our semicolon, and then we want our condition here. So we want to say I is less than or equal to the character Z. So the computer knows that this is 97 and this is 26 later, so it'll just loop through that. And then of course we want to increment I. So this is going to generate the letters A through Z, assigning each one, well, we haven't done the assign yet, but we're going to assign each of these letters into an, actually, hold on. Yeah. Because our entity is going to go in, we're going to have to create we'll create another, what should we do it as, a buffer string? Yeah, I think we want it to be, or we could do let's just do a character array, I think. Just thinking, all right, let's just do it right here. I'm going to do a character array, so private, and it's a character array, char, and we have our array, whoops, wrong thing. We have an array, and we'll just call it alpha, A-L-P-H-A, alpha, and then it'll be a new character array. And since we know the alphabet only has 26 characters, that's all we need in here, so we'll just say 26. So that should create a spot for us to put these guys. So now, where is it? Right here. So we want to say ALPH alpha bracket E. So because this is going to be the element 0, right? Do we want to do element 1? It doesn't matter. And then we want to assign it to whatever I is at the time. Whoops, the other kind of I. So there we go. And then to move to the next element, we want to increment E like so, and with a semicolon. So this will set our alpha. And we're going to also want to keep track of the alpha used, because we're going to, so since this is part of reset, this is only called, so actually I think in reset alpha, we might also want to, we're going to keep track of the alphabet letters that have been used. So we're going to want to probably do that in an array list, because we want to be able to append to it. So let's go ahead and do this and say private array list. And it's going to be a character array, because it's only going to hold characters, character. So there we go. And we'll call it alpha used. ALPHAUSED, alpha used, and it equals a new ARRAY array list. Give me a array list. It's not called it. I don't want the one in parentheses. Does this have the other one? I don't know if that'll, we'll just type it. Array list. Oh, it's that one right there. Bing. Without args though. And I don't think we need, actually we do want the args, because we want to make it the maximum size. Actually this makes me think. I think we want to set that to 26, so that it's going to be able to add them, but it's going to create a blank one of 26. I was just kind of wondering, do we want it as an array list then? Yeah, we'll just leave it. So now we want to set our array list back. Oh, because we do want to be able to modify it. So we want to say, actually, just trying to think here, because we're setting this to 0. So if we set, we might want to do it here actually, because we're resetting. This is setting the array list to be 0 at the very beginning so that we keep our 26, because it's going to have let's just do this. We'll just say ALPHA used, and then I think we want to add 0. I think that's what we want to do. Might have to visit that a little later and see if it works right. Okay, so now we have it generating an alphabet bar. So what we want to do, let's see what we want to do. We're going to have something to get the alpha. And this would be, this is what's actually going to display it out to the screen, I think. Just trying to think real quick what way we want to do this. So this, the GetAlpha is also going to be private. It's not going to return anything. Oh yeah, because this is just going to assign the bar, I think. Because we want, yeah, because we're going to want a bar itself. So right now what we have is we have our alphabet letters that we're going to use. Then we have the alphabet used to keep track of which ones we've used. Now we need an actual bar object that isn't going to be array. It'll reset every single time, and it will contain what we want to output to the user. So it'll be A space, B space, D space. So I think that's what we want to do here, and this will be private because it's, we're going to create another, I think we'll just do it as StringBuffer because it's not actually elements we're messing with. This is just the output. So this will also be private. We'll make it static because it only changes each time the object would be created. It's not going to change other than that. So we'll go ahead and do static, static, string buffer, and we'll just call it bar because this is just going to be our bar, and it equals a new string buffer string buffer, and we'll just set it to 0. And does it, do we spell string buffer? Oh, we don't have a B, the uppercase B. Okay, so there we go. So here we have private void. We'll just call this, what was I going to call it? Do we say GetAlpha, right? GetAlpha. So this is going to get the alpha from our array and assign it to the string formatted to actually output the bar. So then, of course, we'll have something that outputs the bar. We're also going to need, I don't know, we're jumping ahead too far. So we're going to do GetAlpha, like so. Yeah, I don't think it needs to output anything. So this is going to be our bar, and we want to set the length to 0. So we're resetting that buffer, basically clearing it out. Set length and set it to 0. So we're resetting the bar. Then what we want to do is we need to loop through our alpha to see which values, to get all our alphabet letters, right? So we're going to go, so do for, we're just going to do int I equals 0, semicolon, I is less than alpha dot get length, or no, it's length, 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 and then we could do semicolon, we can say I plus plus to increment I, and there we go. So now what we're going to do is for each element in the alpha, we're going to do bar dot append, and we're going to append alpha alpha bracket I and a space, because we don't want our bar to be just all crammed together. We want it to look a little nice. So just like that, and that should do that. And then at the end of the bar, once it's all done, we want to do bar dot append, and we want to append a new line so that it'll automatically put a line underneath the bar. Man, my throat is itchy today. So there we go. There's our GetAlpha. This will get, and I might have a better name, but right now I can't think of one. So now what we're going to want to do is update our alpha. So now this one, update alpha, is going to go through alpha used let me think. So first thing, let's just kind of work through it as we go. So if this one will be public. This is the one that will actually return, or no, is it? Yeah, it's going to return our bar. So let's do public, public, and it's going to return a string buffer. So StringBuffer, and we'll just call it update. I kind of almost wonder if we want to call it update bar or something, but we're actually updating the alpha stuff. So first thing we want to do here is, so alpha, our alpha used, we don't want to we don't want our alpha used to be added into the bar. If alpha used is the thing, then what we want to do is replace that with an underscore. So the letter will be an underscore. This is working in my mind, but I don't know how. So we're going to first, because we're updating the bar, or updating that, we need to first set our length, set length to 0. And let's do for, and this is going to be our alpha used. So we're going to do a for each statement. So we're going to say for char chr, C for car, for char chr, and do alpha used, alpha. I think that's an uppercase U. Oh, whoops, I hit tab. There we go. Alpha used. So what this is going to do is this is going to loop through our alpha used and only get the characters that we've already used. Right? So once we get a character, we need to check if that character is in the alpha length, if it's already used, or if it's not, and then we have to update. Yeah, because we're actually modifying our alpha. So now what we want to do is say for, and we need to, because alpha is integers, we need their, or no, we need the lowercase. So we need to say character character dot to lowercase, and this will be ALPHA bracket I. Yeah, so bracket I, and we want to, whoops, we close that and that, because that's all there. Yeah. And we want to say equals, oh, whoops, this isn't for. What am I thinking? Hold on, I'm thinking wrong. We need, this is our if statement underneath the for. So if, and we'll actually tab that in and then come here real quick and go here. So I was thinking ahead of myself. So we need for, and we need int I, so we're not using I yet, equals 0 semicolon, and now this will be I is less than alpha dot length semicolon I plus plus. Oh, this is going to have one too, so this is the if. And then this one right here is going to have another one. Okay, that should fix all our things there, but our if statement's not complete yet. So if I equals 0, I is less than alpha length, I plus plus, then we want to check if the character is already used. So if the character in our I, as we're looping through alpha I to lower, then I think we need equals, and then this will be character character dot to, whoops, to lowercase, and this will be char, our little character we're doing. So if, why you red? Oh, I have too many things here. This doesn't have it. There we go. Okay, so now if it's going through the alpha array and it finds a character that is the same as our character used, then we want to go ahead and replace ALPHA alpha bracket I with an underscore to say that that character is already used and it's no longer available. So there is that. Then let's see, we don't want it to be there. We want it outside of our loops. We want to then say GetAlpha GetAlpha ALPHA like that. And we want to return bar. So that'll be our string buffer of bar. Why are you not happy? Oh, because we need to do this as ticks, because that's a character array. Okay, and then of course here we needed this. So I think this should be able to output our bar at the top. Now I just need to think of where we want it. So if we do this, say we still have an error. Oops, that's a comma, not a semicolon. Save that. I think we're good there. So if we go back to game here, we are wanting to show our bar. Now we're going to have our game loop in here. So we're going to show hidden, which is our thing. Do we want reset alpha maybe? So when the game begins, we want to reset alpha. So we do this because we don't want alpha used or anything. So we can do a, let's just do GUE. Have we already? Yeah, GUESS. So once we've got that, we've got guest dot reset alpha. So that will set up our alpha the way we want it to be. Then maybe it would be before hangman state. We're just checking that it works. This stuff that we're doing right here isn't going to be what we have at all. So then we want to, was it update alpha? I think it was update alpha. And we want to do this in a S out, and we'll do it in a print and see if this works right. So, whoops, wrong thing. There we go. And do GUESS, whoops, GRESS, GUE, guess dot update alpha, I think. And I think, let's just check that. There we go. So now we have our alphabet bar showing, and once we set up a thing to actually add our guesses, where it's going to remove the letter and put it here, you know, it'll put an underscore here. I think that's how we want it, or do we want alpha above that? I don't know. We'll address that as we get there. But now we've got our alphabet bar, which is pretty cool. And even though we can't really show the mechanics because we don't have any guessing letters yet, which we need to have, we might want to start structuring this guy to actually have, so I mean, things we'll do is we'll actually have this be called, like, something called turn, right? And then up here we're going to need to have, maybe we would want to have like final underscore, or not final underscore, final int, and then max underscore turns, and say that, you know, you only get 6 turns, right, before the game's over. And then keep track of turn int turn, and maybe set that to 0 up front, equals 0. So something like that. And then we'd have some logic in here that says each time it loops, it adds to the turn. We're going to need something like a letter, probably the letter that's actually being entered. So we would have a char letter, and we want to set that to a default of basically nothing, which is \u and 4 zeros, I think. So something like that. Go ahead and throw that in there. So that'll kind of set it up where we're keeping track of the turns, we're keeping track of the turn we're on, and we're keeping track of the letter being used so that we can actually pass it. If we do all this, we're probably also going to want to have a static SCANN scanner as SC equals new SCANNER scanner, then system in SYSTEM dot in, like that, just so that we have that. And in order to have the scanner, we definitely need to have our import statement, import Java where is it? Util, I think. And then SC. Isn't it in Java util SCA-NNER? I thought that was it. Yeah, that's it. So that will give us a scanner so that we can actually get the input from people. We're going to need to set up our loop. So it might be a good time to take a break from guesses. Now that we have it hiding our word and giving us our alphabet bar, it seems like we want to do a lot more here of actually structuring the game, saying you got it right, you got it wrong, outputting the stuff we need. So I think that's what we're going to do in the next episode, is kind of work on this. We're definitely not done, because we still want to come in here and make it so that when they guess a letter, it goes ahead and knows to update the alpha bar and stuff like that. So I think that's good. We're at about 31 minutes, so we're over the 20 that I try, but these usually go about 30. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you're enjoying this and learning something good. If you are, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below, comment, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, check out my Discord and my other channels, and tell people you know about this channel if they're interested in learning Java. Leave comments, let me know what I could do better. I mean, when you're sitting here and you're trying to do it all on camera while you're recording, you can't take too much time to think of things, so you definitely might make mistakes. So if I made mistakes or things that aren't very efficient, let me know in the comments below and we can address those. So that's it. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.